In the deep silence of the galaxy, there were rulers known as the Alphas. They were proud, ruthless, and feared by every world that looked up at the stars. For centuries they stood as the supreme power, their fleets of black steel moving like storms across the void. Whenever the Alphas arrived, planets bent their knees, civilizations surrendered without a fight. Entire species were enslaved, their cultures crushed, and their histories erased. The Alphas were not only strong in war, they were cruel in spirit. They believed it was their destiny to dominate. They called themselves the peak of evolution, the natural leaders of the galaxy. Among the countless species that filled the stars, none dared to challenge them. Many races whispered of rebellion, but those whispers always ended in fire. Worlds that resisted were turned into ash. Moons were shattered. Cities were left in ruins as warnings. The Alphas fed on fear, and they thrived on despair. To them, the galaxy was not a place of unity, it was a hunting ground. The Galaxy Council, a gathering of leaders from weaker species, existed only to serve as a stage for the Alphas. They called meetings, but every decision was controlled by Alpha voices. Their arrogance was unmatched, and their cruelty endless. In every hall, in every court, the shadow of the Alphas stretched long, but beyond their reach, there was a small blue world, a world the Alphas rarely mentioned. Earth, humanity was late to the stars, late to the Council, and late to the wars. The Alphas considered them weak, fragile, and unworthy of respect. They laughed at the idea of humans joining the galactic stage. In the eyes of the Alphas, humanity was just another species waiting to be ruled. Still, whispers moved across the stars. While most ignored Earth, some spoke of strange things. Human explorers who did not fear Alpha patrols. Human science that advanced faster than expected. Rumors of fleets being built in silence, but no proof was ever shown, and so the Alphas dismissed it as meaningless. The day came when the Alphas demanded Earth's surrender. Their message was broadcast across the galaxy. It was not a question, not a negotiation. It was a declaration. Submit or be destroyed. To the Alphas it was routine, another species, another conquest. They expected begging, they expected fear, they expected humanity to kneel. The Galaxy Council waited for Earth's answer. Other species held their breath. Some prayed for mercy, some waited for the screams. The Alphas smiled, certain of their victory before the war even began. Their arrogance was their armor, and their past victories their crown. But something strange happened. Earth gave no answer. The humans remained silent. Not a word, not a plea, not even a sign of fear. Days passed, then weeks. The Alphas grew impatient. Their leaders laughed at the silence, mocking it as weakness. Yet deep inside, unease began to spread. Silence can be louder than words, and humanity's silence was a shadow that unsettled even the strongest Alpha minds. In the Grand Council chamber, one of the Alpha warlords spoke with scorn. They are nothing. They are insects. They will bend or they will burn. His words echoed and many cheered, but there were others who exchanged nervous glances. Something about Earth felt different. Something about humans felt hidden. Still, the Alphas believed in their power. They prepared a fleet, massive and dark, to move toward Earth. To them, it was not war, it was routine extermination. They had crushed countless worlds before, and they would do it again. In their arrogance, they did not know that their time was ending. And so the first chapter of this story was written. The Alphas stood tall, confident, and proud. The galaxy trembled at their priests. Yet somewhere, on the small blue world they mocked, a storm was rising. Humanity was waiting, silent but unbroken. Their answer would not be words. Their answer would be fire. The Alpha fleet moved through the stars with confidence. Their ships were vast and heavy, built for fear. Each vessel carried weapons that had destroyed countless worlds. To the galaxy, the sight of an Alpha armada meant the end. But this time, their destination was Earth. On every world, beings gathered around screens and transmitters. They waited to see what would happen. Many expected the same story that had always played out. The Alphas would arrive, Earth would bow, and another world would vanish into slavery. But others whispered, what if Earth was different? What if the silence was not weakness but strength? Days passed and Earth still gave no answer. Not a word from its leaders, not a plea for mercy. Humanity did nothing. This silence spread like fire through the stars. Races who had suffered under the Alphas felt something they had not felt in centuries: hope. Inside Alpha command halls, unease was growing. The warlords shouted and mocked the humans, calling them cowards, but even their laughter sounded forced. Why were humans not afraid? Why did they not speak? Why did they not try to beg? The first Alpha Scout fleet entered the Sol system. Their sensors reached Earth, but what they found was strange. Earth was lit and alive, but calm. No signs of panic, no signs of surrender. Human ships patrolled the orbits like quiet wolves. They did not fire, they did not flee, they only watched. The commander of the scout fleet sneered. "They think their small ships can stop us," he growled. He ordered a strike, missiles were launched, beams of energy cut across the black. But before they touched Earth, something happened. Human defense platforms activated. Silent machines hidden in the void awoke. Weapons of design no alien had seen before roared to life. The Alpha missiles were destroyed mid-flight, beams scattered, explosions silenced in seconds. The Alpha Scouts froze. Their sensors showed something impossible. Thousands of hidden satellites, drones, and platforms surrounded Earth. It was a fortress in space, one built in silence and secrecy. The scout commander demanded more power. "Break their defenses," he shouted. But again, the human weapons moved faster. Missiles that bent around shields, beams that cut through armor like fire through paper. Within minutes, the proud Alpha Scout fleet was gone. Nothing but drifting wreckage. The galaxy gasped. Transmission signals spread across hundreds of systems. For the first time in memory, Alpha ships had been destroyed by a world that was meant to be weak. The silence of humanity had turned into thunder. In the Grand Alpha Chamber, warlords shouted in rage. They swore it was a trick. They claimed it was luck. They refused to believe humans could build such power, but their eyes betrayed them. For the first time, the Alphas felt fear. Other species began to whisper louder. Humans are not prey, they are hunters. Alien leaders who had long lived in terror now felt a spark of courage. The idea that the Alphas could be defeated no longer felt like fantasy. Yet Earth remained quiet. No speeches, no threats, no arrogance, only silence. Humanity gave no answer. Their fleets did not march into Alpha space. Their leaders did not stand before the council. They simply watched, calm and patient. And that patience was worse than any threat. It broke the Alphas from the inside. For the first time in centuries, the predators of the galaxy were unsettled. They did not know what humanity was planning. They did not know how far Earth's strength went. The Alpha Supreme gathered his commanders. His voice shook the chamber. "We will crush them. We will show the galaxy they are nothing." But his words carried a shadow of doubt. Deep inside, he feared that Earth was not a world to conquer and it a storm to face. The Second Fleet was prepared, larger and stronger. Thousands of ships burned toward Earth. Their weapons lit the dark, their banners of war stretching across the void. They thought size would win. They thought numbers would matter. But what waited for them in the silence of space was something no Alpha had imagined. The galaxy held its breath. The silence of Earth was about to break. The Alpha Second Fleet entered the Sol system with fire in their hearts. Their ships were like moving mountains, covered in black metal. Each one bristled with weapons that had erased empires. To them, Earth would be no different. Another world to crush, another species to enslave. But as their fleets spread across the system, they found silence again. Earth did not speak. Human leaders did not appear. The blue planet hung quiet beneath its shield of satellites and patrol ships. The Alphas laughed, mistaking calm for fear. Then the silence broke. Human ships emerged from the darkness, but these were not the small patrol craft seen before. These were giants, vast warships that dwarfed anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Sleek designs, sharp angles, glowing with strange energy fields. One Alpha commander froze, whispering in disbelief. "This is impossible." He had fought countless battles, but never had he seen machines built with such precision. The ships moved like predators, fast and silent, as if the void itself obeyed them. The Alpha warlords gave the order to attack. Weapons screamed, beams of energy filled the black skies. The void turned into fire. But what happened next shook the galaxy. The human ships did not fight like prey. They fought like hunters. Their weapons bent around shields, piercing the strongest Alpha armor. Their missiles split apart mid-flight, turning into swarms of smaller weapons, each one guided by unseen intelligence. Alpha warships exploded one after another. Their mighty vessels, once symbols of fear, were torn apart in minutes. The humans moved with terrifying coordination, as if every ship shared one mind. If humanity had become a single will, across the galaxy, transmissions spread in silence, aliens watched in awe, entire systems broadcast the battle. For the first time in history, the Alphas were being destroyed. The Alpha commanders roared in fury. "Send everything! Crush them now!" they screamed. Thousands of ships moved forward, desperate to prove their power. But the humans had more to show. From behind Earth's moon, another fleet emerged. Thousands of hidden ships rose, their hulls glowing with energy fields no one could understand. These were not just warships, they were symbols of patience, proof that humanity had been preparing in secret for decades. The Alphas realized the truth. Humanity had never been weak. They had been waiting, silent, watching. And now their silence ended in fire. The humans did not boast. They did not scream victory. They fought in silence, cold and relentless. Every Alpha ship destroyed was another message to the galaxy. The age of Alphas is over. One by one, the Alpha warships fell. Entire formations shattered. Commanders silenced. Their fleets became wreckage drifting in the void. What was once the terror of the stars now burned like candles in a storm. The Alpha Supreme watched from his command throne light years away. His claws dug into the armrests. Rage filled his chest. But beneath it was fear. Never before had he seen his fleets destroyed so fast, so completely. He slammed his fist against the table. "They are not prey," he growled. "They are predators." The council chambers across the galaxy shook with whispers. Species that had suffered for generations saw the battle and felt something they had forgotten. Hope. Hope that the Alphas could be defeated. Hope that freedom was not a dream but a coming reality. Still, Earth did not send messages. Humanity did not celebrate. They fought, and then they went quiet, as if the war was not glory, but duty. This silence was worse than words. It was terrifying. It told the galaxy that humanity did not fight for power. They fought for survival, and survival made them unstoppable. The Alpha fleet, once proud, was gone. What remained were broken ships and broken pride. The survivors fled, carrying fear back to their masters. And with that fear came the first crack in the Alpha throne. The galaxy held its breath again. For the first time, the Alphas had lost. And for the first time, everyone knew their end was near. The wreckage of Alpha ships drifted across the Sol system. Twisted metal glowing in the cold void. Entire armadas had been destroyed. The galaxy watched in disbelief. What was once thought impossible had happened. Humanity had shattered the Alphas. But Earth did not celebrate. The humans did not hold parades or send victory speeches. They only cleaned the battlefield, silent and cold. Their fleets moved like shadows, patrolling, rebuilding, preparing, as if the destruction of the Alpha fleet was only the beginning. Across the stars, whispers grew louder. Entire worlds replayed the battle again and again. How could a young species, ignored and mocked, build weapons beyond imagination? How had they hidden such power for so long? The answer was terrifying. Humanity had prepared in secret, they had learned in silence, and now the silence had ended. The Galaxy Council called an emergency session. Leaders from dozens of races gathered in fear and hope. Some begged to form an alliance with humans. Others warned that humanity might become worse than the Alphas. The chamber roared with voices, but the humans sent no delegate. Their seat remained empty. Their silence screamed louder than words. In the Alpha capital, fury burned. The Alpha Supreme roared before his generals. "This is not the end. This is only a battle. We are Alphas, rulers of all. We will destroy them." His claws struck the table, but even as he spoke, his generals looked away. For the first time, they doubted. And then came the message, not from human leaders, but from the humans themselves. A silent broadcast appeared in every system. No words, no threats. Just an image, thousands of human warships rising from Earth's orbit, stretching into the void. Their hulls glowed with strange light, their weapons alive with unseen power. The galaxy froze. What they saw was not a fleet, it was an armada larger than anything ever built. Humans had not shown their full strength in the last battle, they had only shown a fraction. On enslaved worlds, whispers turned to fire, hope spread faster than fear. Species beaten for centuries now dreamed of freedom. The Alphas can fall, they whispered. The humans will end them. The Alpha Supreme sent spies, desperate to uncover Earth's secrets. They returned with stories that only deepened the fear. Earth was a fortress. Every moon, every orbit, filled with hidden stations and fleets. Human science was decades ahead, maybe centuries. And worse, the humans had mastered something even the Alphas did not understand. Artificial minds guided their fleets, weapons that thought faster than any commander. The Alphas had ruled by fear. But humanity was building something different. They were building inevitability. Then the humans made their first move, not against Alpha strongholds, but against enslaved worlds. Fleets of human warships entered systems long ruled by Alpha chains. The Alphas expected hesitation, they expected words, but the humans came with fire. On the planet Durrell, the Alphas had enslaved billions. They forced entire cities into the mines. Their guards laughed as they whipped the weak. But one morning, the sky split open. Human ships descended. Their weapons silenced the Alpha garrisons in seconds. Chains were broken, mines were emptied, and the people saw something they had never imagined: liberation everywhere the humans went. The story repeated: slaves freed, chains broken, Alphas slaughtered. The galaxy watched in awe. Humanity was not just defending itself, it was erasing Alpha power system by system. But humanity did not claim the worlds. They did not plant flags. They simply freed them and moved on. This silence, this refusal to rule, made them even more terrifying. They were not conquerors. They were executioners. Their only target, the Alphas. The Alpha Supreme trembled with rage. His empire was breaking apart, his fleets destroyed, his world slipping away. But still he shouted, still he roared, "We are Alphas. We cannot fall." Yet the galaxy no longer believed him. His words were hollow, his reign was dying, and in the silence of Earth, more fleets prepared to rise. Humanity had only just begun. The storm was building. The galaxy knew one truth now. The Alphas were not eternal, their end was coming, and humanity was the blade. The galaxy was no longer silent. From one system to another, war burned like wildfire. Humanity had moved beyond defense. Their fleets spread across the stars, striking Alpha worlds with precision and fury. The Alphas responded with rage. They gathered their largest armadas, fleets so vast they covered the skies of entire systems. Millions of soldiers marched, billions of weapons prepared. To the galaxy, it looked like the end of everything. The Alphas would crush humanity or burn trying. But when their fleets clashed, the truth was revealed. Human warships did not fight like any other. They fought as if guided by one mind. Artificial intelligence linked every vessel, every weapon, every move. Alpha fleets tried to overwhelm with numbers, but the humans cut through them like blades through smoke. On the world of Veyron, the Alphas sent 500,000 troops to hold the cities. Their banners stretched across the skies. The people bowed in fear. But then, without warning, human dropships fell like meteors. Soldiers in black armor emerged, silent and relentless. They moved with precision, every step in sync. Within hours, the Alpha garrison were gone, and the people stood free. Word spread fast. "The humans are not invaders," whispered the freed races. "They are liberators." This terrified the Alpha Supreme more than any battle. Fear was no longer working. The galaxy was turning against him. Still, the Alphas fought with fury. In the Chaos system, they gathered their largest fleet yet. Over 10,000 warships burned across the black. The Alpha Supreme declared, "This will be the end of humans." His voice thundered through every channel, but the humans were waiting. Their fleets emerged from the void. Not thousands, but tens of thousands. Ships larger, faster, deadlier than the galaxy had ever seen. Energy fields shimmered like storms around them. Their weapons pulsed with strange power. The battle began. The void lit up with fire. Alpha weapons screamed. Human weapons answered. For days the war raged across the system. Planets shook. Stars trembled. Billions watched from hidden corners, afraid to breathe. The Alphas threw everything they had, but humanity was relentless. Their fleets moved like predators, striking weak points, surrounding enemies, tearing them apart piece by piece. Alpha formations crumbled, their proud fleets scattered. The Kael system became a graveyard of burning wreckage. Among the wreckage, survivors fled. Broken ships limped back to Alpha space, carrying only fear and despair. They whispered what the galaxy already knew: the Alphas can be destroyed. The Galaxy Council met in chaos. Some leaders begged to join humanity, others feared them, but all agreed on one truth: humans were no longer prey, they were the storm. The Alpha Supreme raged, his throne hall shook as he roared, "We are Alphas, we are eternal." But his generals no longer looked him in the eyes. They had seen the truth. Their fleets were failing, their worlds falling, humanity was breaking them across inns. Laved worlds, uprisings began. Species who once hid in shadows now rose. Inspired by the humans, they tore down Alpha banners. They struck against their guards. For the first time in centuries, courage replaced fear. And behind them came the humans, their fleets crushing Alpha reinforcements, their soldiers breaking chains. The galaxy felt the shift. The Alphas were no longer rulers. They were prey, hunted and cornered. Humanity had turned the tide. But even as victory spread, humanity remained silent. They sent no speeches, no threats. Their fleets only moved from battle to battle, destroying the Alphas piece by piece. Their silence became legend, a silence that said, "We are not here to rule, we are here to end." The Alpha Supreme prepared his last gamble, a final war. He called every fleet, every soldier, every weapon. He would bring all his power to one battlefield. He would crush humanity or be erased. The galaxy trembled. The breaking point had come. Humanity and the Alphas were on a collision course, and when they met, only one would remain. The Alpha Supreme stood in his throne hall, his claws gripping the armrests. His empire was crumbling, his fleets broken, his world slipping away. But his voice still roared with fury. "We are Alphas, rulers of all, we cannot fall." His generals knelt before him, but their eyes betrayed fear. They had seen the truth. Humanity was winning. Desperate, the Alpha Supreme made his choice. He called for the last armada. Every surviving ship, every soldier, every weapon was summoned to the capital system. Never before had such power been gathered in one place. The skies above the Alpha homeworld burned with warships, millions of them. Their weapons glowed like suns, their banners stretched across the void. The galaxy held its breath. This was the moment of fate. If the Alphas crushed humanity here, they would rise again. If they failed, their empire would end forever. Across enslaved worlds, people prayed, some for freedom, others for revenge. All eyes turned to the capital, and then humanity arrived. Their fleets slipped into the system like shadows, silent and vast. The galaxy froze as the humans revealed their true scale. Not thousands, not tens of thousands, but hundreds of thousands of ships stretching across the black in endless lines. Their hulls shimmered with strange energy. Their weapons pulsed with light that seemed alive. The Alpha Supreme snarled, "They are still flesh, they can still die." He ordered the attack. His armada surged forward, a storm of fire and rage. The void shook as millions of weapons roared. The battle began. The humans did not flinch. Their fleets moved with perfect precision, linked by artificial minds. Their weapons bent and twisted, cutting through Alpha shields like paper. Entire Alpha formations were erased in minutes. Ships that had once ruled the stars became drifting wrecks. But the Alphas fought with desperation. They hurled everything they had, wave after wave crashed against human lines. The skies above their homeworld turned into fire. For days the battle raged. Stars trembled, planets shook. The galaxy watched in silence. On the ground below, Alpha citizens trembled. They had been told their race was eternal. They had been told no one could challenge them. But now, above their skies, they saw their armada dying. Their pride turned to terror, their arrogance to despair. Still, the Alpha Supreme refused to yield. His voice thundered across the command channels. "Fight! Fight to the last! We are Alphas!" But his words were drowned by screams. Commanders begging for help, fleets begging for mercy, ships vanishing into fire. Then came the moment that shattered the Empire. The human flagship, a colossal vessel larger than any world station, moved through the battle. Its weapons tore apart the Alpha command fleet. One by one, the Supreme's closest defenders fell. Their wreckage rained down upon the home world. The Alpha Supreme stood from his throne. His eyes burned with rage, but his body trembled. He whispered to himself, "This cannot be. We cannot fall." But even as he spoke, the human flagship locked onto his palace, the skies lit with fire. The Alpha Supreme's palace shook, walls cracked, towers fell, his guards fled, his throne crumbled beneath him. For the first time in history, the Supreme of the Alphas was silent. The capital world burned, human fleets surrounded it, not with words, not with threats, but with cold silence. Cities were spared, but Alpha fortresses were erased. The empire that had ruled for centuries ended in a single day. The galaxy gasped. Across countless worlds, chains fell. Alphas who had once been feared were hunted. Their armies shattered, their thrones broken. The predators of the stars were gone. Humanity had erased them, but Earth did not celebrate. No victory speeches, no glory cries. The fleets moved on, silent and patient. Their war was not for power. It was for survival. It was for freedom. The galaxy knew the truth now. The age of Alphas had ended, and a new age had begun. An age led by humanity. The Alpha capital lay in ruins. Smoke rose from shattered towers. Broken fleets drifted above like corpses in the sky. The empire that had ruled the galaxy for centuries was gone. The galaxy trembled in silence, waiting to see what the humans would do. On liberated worlds, people poured into the streets. They tore down Alpha statues, burned Alpha banners, and shouted the name of humanity. For the first time in living memory, hope spread faster than fear. Children who had never known freedom laughed under open skies. Entire cities wept, not from despair, but from joy. The Galaxy Council met again, this time not in fear of the Alphas, but in awe of the humans. Many begged Earth to take the Alpha throne. They pleaded for humanity to rule, to guide the galaxy. But once again, the human seat was empty. Humanity gave no answer. Their silence was their reply. That silence was more powerful to us. Hanani's speech, it told the galaxy a truth no one had expected. Humanity did not fight for thrones. Humanity did not fight for crowns. They fought for survival. They fought for freedom. And when they had won, they did not seek to rule, but humanity's fleets did not rest. They spread across the stars, not to enslave, but to guard. Systems once enslaved now found human patrols keeping them safe. Trade routes once controlled by Alpha cruelty now reopened. Human warships moved like shadows, protecting without asking, defending without demanding. Aliens whispered in wonder. They are not conquerors, they are guardians. Species that once looked down on Earth now raised their voices in respect. In every council, in every chamber, one phrase grew louder. The humans saved us. Still, some feared, some wondered if humanity's silence was a mask, if their power was too great. But time revealed the truth. The humans did not demand tribute, did not demand obedience. They only demanded one thing, that the Alphas never rise again. The last Alpha strongholds were hunted down. No matter where they hid, no matter how deep their fortresses, humanity found them. One by one, they were erased, until the very word Alpha became a memory, a shadow of a nightmare. The Alpha Supreme, broken and defeated, was never seen again. Some whispered he fell in battle. Others said humanity erased him without a word. The truth was never spoken. Humanity never told the story. And perhaps that silence was the final punishment. The Alphas, once the loudest voice in the galaxy, ended in silence. And in that silence, a new dawn rose. Humanity stood not as rulers, but as the balance. The galaxy no longer feared a single throne. It feared the quiet strength of Earth, a strength that did not boast, did not threaten, but always waited. The galaxy began to rebuild. Worlds once broken by Alpha chains now plan. Ted Fields built homes and wrote songs of freedom. Every celebration carried the same words, whispered like prayer. Humans came and we were free. But on Earth, life moved on. The blue planet spun quietly. Its people walked their cities. Their children laughed. To them, war was not glory, it was duty. Humanity had not fought for empire. They had fought for survival. And now that survival was secure, they looked to the stars not as conquerors, but as explorers once more. In the halls of history, the story was written. The Alphas, the rulers of ages, the predators of the stars, met their end at the hands of those they mocked. Humanity, once dismissed as weak, had risen in silence, fought in silence, and won in silence, and the galaxy would never forget. At the edge of the stars, a human fleet moved quietly. Their ships glowed like fireflies in the void. their presence a promise, their silence a warning. For all who might rise again, one truth echoed through the galaxy. The alphas are gone, the humans remain.